Welcome everyone to Chromatic Counsel. I am your host, Carrie Heaps, and I am so excited that you are here today with us. And as you all know, I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before, but I want to say it just one more time because we have changed the format of the show just a tiny bit, where we are talking a little bit more in depth with attorneys and people who service the legal market to talk about, how they got into the industry, what's a good referral for them, and all kinds of other exciting things. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about color and how they're using it to impact and influence others. So if you want to be a guest on the show, you are welcome to click on the show notes. The link is below to apply to be on the show. And once you fill that out, that form will come to me and I will contact you about a date to set up a scheduled time. Of course, we do these on video, so make sure that you're comfortable with the video format. And of course, with our guests, we love all of our guests, and we're so excited that people have been applying and wanting to be a part of the show. And of course, as you know, I love talking about color as well. But I'm going to get into today's guest today. So today I have Joel Chouinard, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed I pronounced that correctly
You
again.
did. Good job.
Oh, good, good. So Joel, he is the founder and lead financial planner of SharpEdge Financial. That is an independent financial planning firm. It's serving the needs of young attorneys across the United States. Joel focuses on helping his clients navigate the complex financial decisions they face each and every day. But most importantly, he strives to align his clients' money with the life they envision. Joel, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kara. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to have you here because obviously you service attorneys, not just in Texas where you're located, but here in Florida where I am and all over the US. I would love for you to tell the listening audience a little bit more about you and how did you get started with financial planning? Like what kind of struck your chord with being a financial planner?
Yeah, so I don't even know if we discussed this offline, but my previous career, I'm originally from Canada, and to make a long story short, I played professional hockey for 9 years in the minors, and when I signed my first professional contract, this was back in 2010. It wasn't like the big leagues, the big league money, but I had some money to invest, and I asked my agent, what should I do with this? And I was
Mhm.
very clueless. I was 20 years old, and he goes, "You should just open up a Roth IRA." And I'm like, "Well, what's that?" And then he explained it to me, and he was like, "Well, what should I invest in?" And he said, "Well, just do an ETF." I was like, "Well, what's that?" So way back then, I think those were the seeds that got planted in my head, and I didn't really pay too much attention to it, to be honest. I was focused on making it to the NHL, and but over the years, obviously, as the market does, it grew and it grew, and I started paying more attention to it, and it's like, oh, this is pretty cool, this compound growth thing, and my career didn't go exactly as I had planned. I didn't make it to the big leagues. So towards the end of the 9 years, so like probably in year 7 or 8, I started thinking about what should I do next. I had a young boy at the time, and he was less than 1 year old. So it was important to me to plan what was next. And my wife is an attorney, so she was already working and super busy. So that last summer before I retired, I did an internship at a financial services firm, mostly focused on life insurance. But I liked it. I liked the numbers aspect. I like to talk to people about their finances. So that last year, I got all my accreditation and licenses and everything. And I just, my last game was on a Saturday night. Monday, I was in the office, going through their training program. And I ended up, kind of shifting from more like insurance to more financial planning about 4 years ago. Even though I thought insurance was important, it wasn't really fulfilling to just sell a product. Really wanted to make a bigger impact in my clients' lives. So I shifted towards their financial planning branch. And then as of 3 months ago, in a couple days, I actually launched my firm. I took my clients from that company, and I just launched a completely independent firm. So yeah, so that's the long story short.
And you focus primarily on attorneys. What kind of made that switch for you, like just to focus on that particular market?
Yeah, so it was kind of a natural thing that happened. Obviously, as I mentioned, my wife is an attorney. She was in big law and then transitioned in-house. And, just obviously the complexity that with being in big law, not a lot of time to research things and making sure you're making the right decisions. But also when she made the decision to leave big law, that had a big financial implications, and I was there to kind of help her through that transition. And I think ultimately, knowing that we were going to be okay financially is what allowed her to leave. So that's when it clicked in my head. I was like, I can help more people like her who feel stuck, or help people just thrive in that position. Because I think pretty big believer that some people fit in that molds and some people don't. And so there's no right or wrong. It's just helping them, thrive in where they want to be. So yeah, that's how I got into it.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to me when I find someone who services that particular niche, just law firms or just attorneys, like myself. And it's interesting because I had Patrick Barnes on, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, and we released his podcast. And he is an attorney, but he does a lot with compassion fatigue because people don't realize, being an attorney, it's not just, oh, you're going to work every day and you're being an attorney and then you shut it off at 5 o'clock.
Right.
It's completely different. And it's just a different type of business, just like construction is and so forth. And there's just so many unique needs for the law industry. So, yeah, I find that super interesting that you're doing that. So, I would love to switch gears a little bit and ask you a couple of questions about color, obviously, because this is Chromatic Counsel. So, have you found, I know we talked a little bit about this before the show, but what's kind of your favorite go-to color to wear, like for a new client that's coming in to meet with you, or you're going to a new firm? Do you have specific colors that you like to wear?
Yeah, for me, I try to stick within the colors of my company. I really like everything to be kind of consistent throughout their experience. And blue obviously is that color. It's in my logo, it's on my website. And frankly, my whole life, I tend to just wear blue. Maybe somebody told me I looked good in blue one time, and I just ran with it.
And do you
Um,
have like a specific outfit? Kind of like I know some people are like, oh, I closed a multi-million dollar deal in this outfit. So they wear like it's like that's their lucky go-to outfit. Do you
right.
have anything like that in your wardrobe?
I don't. I'm not very superstitious, which is kind of unlike other, professional athletes. I feel like it's a very common thing, but I was never superstitious. My I guess style, so to speak, is more on the casual side. I don't wear suits or anything like that. So yeah, just being comfortable and kind of meeting the client where they are. I don't want to be talk. I try to my whole thing is I try to be on the same side of the table as them. So I don't want to be kind of on this pedestal where I'm, super uptight. It's just I try to be as much as much conversational and just a companion to help them through their issues. So that I feel like that's why I tend to wear more like business casual type clothes.
Hmm. And I want to switch gears a little bit and go back to your company. So Sharp Edge, what makes a good referral for you right now? Like, what are you looking for in terms of new clients?
Yeah. So, if you go to my website, it says it right there, right? My bread and butter is helping millennial and Gen Z big law attorneys. That's where I'm most comfortable. That's where I have the most knowledge, obviously, both from a personal experience, but also professional, helping my clients. But not I would say every big law attorney needs a financial planner. Some people are do-it-yourselfers, right? We all know these people, and I know some of my friends are like that, and they're okay and they'll be fine. Honestly, we talk finance all the time, and I could tell they get it. But for me, it's more the person who is a delegator and who doesn't have the knowledge, doesn't want to learn, all the things that they need to know. They're interested in their finances and they have a vested interest in my recommendations. And because otherwise, the flip side of that is people that are uninterested and just don't take the recommendations. That's not ideal either. But somebody who's got a vested interest in their finances, but just don't want to do all the research and take all the time to learn everything and want a second set of eyes. So that's my, I guess, ideal client avatar, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
niche. So millennial, Gen Z, big law attorneys.
Yeah. And as far as, the people that you have been encompassing for potential clients, are you finding there's like a common problem with financial planning and the millennials and the Gen Zs that you're like, oh, it just seems to be kind of a standard, I don't want to say problem, but there's some resistance there around planning for their future from a financial aspect.
Yeah. For me, the biggest thing I see over and over again is what we call lifestyle creep. As you know, big law attorneys, they have this lockstep salary model where every year they know exactly what they're going to make the next year. And if they stick around another year, they're going to get, I mean, I think with the bonuses that were just announced, when you go from a fourth to a fifth year, you get like a $75,000 raise in 1 year, right? If you get the
Mhm.
bonus. So with that can come the lifestyle creep. And what happens is if as you get, more income, your expenses go up. And at some point you feel stuck in that income.
Mhm.
And you feel like you can't take a step back on income because you have expenses. So that's one big thing that we help clients, especially the younger ones that are just starting off, is to set themselves if they want to be in big law. Because again, I think there are people that fit that model and there are people that aren't. There's no right or wrong, but you just don't know yet when you're just starting off. And setting up your finances in a way that you don't spend too much and you don't lock yourself into that income, that's a big issue. um, so we focus a lot on budgeting and student loans and cash flow and things like that.
Mhm.
Now, if you shift that to a few years later, when they become partner at law firms, the people that did stick around, there's a lot of issue, not necessarily issues, but friction around, going from a W-2 employee to a partner, and you receive a K-1, and you have to pay self-employment taxes and all that complexity. So those are probably the two biggest ones that I see people reaching out for.
And that kind of feeds into my next question for you. So, for the people who are listening, who might be like, hey, I think I might have somebody that Joel can help, are there like the types of situations that the challenges, just like what you were talking about, that those prospects are in that would make them a good referral for you? For the average person listening, like what should be some key phrases that they should listen for? Like, like, are they talking about, gosh, I just got this raise or this bonus is coming and this is going to help me cover. So, like, are there common phrases people should listen for that to notice that, what did you call it? Lifestyle creep? Like,
Yeah, lifestyle
yeah,
creep.
yeah. Like, what would be some common phrases that other people would hear someone saying about
Yeah.
that?
It's hard in our industry because, I mean, just from when we're little, very little, right? It's very taboo to talk about money with other people, and you certainly don't ask about how much people make. Although in big law, because it's
Mhm.
advertised all over the internet. But yeah, I would look for phrase, things like that. I'm not happy where I am right now, and or just seeing it, right? Seeing somebody not being fulfilled or happy where they are. That's a sign that there's probably some reasons why they're stuck there, right? So
Mhm.
that's one way. Again, I mentioned making partner.
Mhm.
Regardless of how prepared you are, I think nothing can really prepare you to go from that transition to becoming partner, um, things like that. So it's rare that people are going to just open up and say, "Hey, I'm really struggling. I don't understand all this finances and things like that."
Mhm.
It's more of like the the emotions that come out of that, though maybe some conversations they have.
So maybe more stressed out. They're obviously, maybe not, like you said, not happy. There's, you're going to see the emotion first before they come out and talk.
Right.
if I'm
I guess is
understanding you
my that's
correctly.
my point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then what about strategic partners? And for those of you who are listening in, if you're not really familiar with what a strategic partner is, I like to, the easiest way I can explain it, it's hot dogs and hot dog buns. You're not going to buy one without the other. Like what companies or people make good strategic partners for you for what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of different people. I try to build a team around my clients so that they have all the resources that they need um, when they need it. So, for example, I'm certainly not a trained psychologist or a life coach, right? I try to ask questions to trigger certain emotions and things like that, but by no means do I proclaim to be a specialist in psychology. So I think having, a good coach, life coach that can help navigate through some of these emotions is one. From a more technical standpoint, attorneys who do estate planning. I work with a lot of young families, and it's really important that they have their will, all their estate planning documents in place. I'm not an attorney, so I don't draft those.
Mhm.
Accountants, everybody needs to do their taxes. So, especially when they become partner, there's more complexity with their tax returns. So making sure they have somebody that they can trust. So those are my ideal kind of strategic partners that just kind of, surround my client and they have so that they have all the resources that they need.
Okay, great. And anything that you'd like to share, Joel, with the listening audience, anything you have coming up, any speaking engagements or exciting things you'd like to announce and share with everyone?
Yeah. So I've been doing social media for a while now, especially just mostly on LinkedIn, but I'm venturing into short form video marketing. So I've been doing more putting more efforts into doing that. So if you're interested in just like learning money tips for big law attorneys, you can find me. My handle is Big Law Money Guide. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, or X, and obviously on LinkedIn as well, and on YouTube. So that's in the works for 2025. Other than that, just as we were talking about, I'm dabbling into the CLE world as well. So be on the lookout for that. We have a CLE coming up in early February. So kind of like a psychology of money and so just tips for attorneys on how to better manage their finances. It's going to be an ethics CLE as well. So that's always the ones missing, right?
Absolutely, those especially for Texas. Yeah. And then just in closing, Joel, I wanted to throw one more question out there. If you could offer just one small piece of advice to attorneys who are listening that are kind of like they're putting off on the back burner, planning for their financial future, what would that one piece of advice be?
Yeah. For me, it all starts with understanding how much income is coming in and how much expenses are coming out. If you think about yourself as a business, as a business owner, you know your revenue and you know your expenses and you know your net profit. That's just very simple things that business owners do. And I encourage people to have that same mentality and treat their household as a business. And so really diving into understanding what's coming in, where the money is going, and just having that baseline is going to help you make a lot of decisions, whether that's should I be more aggressive paying off my student loans? Should I save some money for my emergency fund? Whatever the case may be. But that's usually the first step that we do with clients is understanding their cash flow.
Great. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate your time. I know you're super busy and you're doing so many great things. So thank you for that and for helping the legal community, not just in Texas, but everywhere.
Thank you. I really appreciate you bringing me on. And yeah, thank you very much.
Absolutely. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Now, if you want to connect with Joel for help with your financial planning, click on the link in the show notes below. We have all the links there. You can connect directly with him, watch the videos. And if you are looking for a speaker for your voluntary bar association, definitely connect with him if you are in Texas and you have a voluntary bar and you're looking for a speaker. So his all his information is in the show notes. And again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. And like I always say, life is short. Don't wear boring colors.